this is the English title given to the chapter, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. In Sanskrit, this title is called Sainya Nirikshan Yoga. So, Sainya Nirikshan means to observe and to do observation of the army, Sainya Nirikshan Yoga. Now, very interestingly, how can observing the armies be called yoga? If you see Srimad Bhagavad Gita's chapter names in Sanskrit, every chapter will have this word called as yoga, Sanya Nirikshan Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So it's very interesting that why this word yoga is used here. The reason which the great acharyas are telling is that Arjuna is going to observe the armies and he is going to start lamenting that he is unable to fight this battle, and he is going to completely break down apart. And another name of this chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, that it is also the lamentation of Arjuna. But why is the lamentation of Arjuna being compared to a yoga? That also we will see in this chapter. Yoga essentially means that which connects you to the Supreme Lord, that which connects a living entity to the Supreme Lord. So here the lamentation of Arjuna is going to bring him closer to God. We are going to see that also. So this you can see here, Pandava brothers were all unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and they acted only for his pleasure. And Lord Krishna offered himself without weapons or his Narayani Sena to both Arjuna and Duryodhana. So this is a very interesting story. This is a very interesting story where, so I'm going to fill this session today with a lot of small anecdotes from Mahabharata, so be ready for it. You know what happened when the battle of Kurukshetra was about to begin? So both Arjuna and Duryodhana, they are related to Krishna as their relatives. So both of them went to Krishna in Dwaraka, and that time Krishna was taking rest. So Krishna was lying on the bed taking rest. So Arjuna went and started massaging the feet of Krishna, and Duryodhana जाके सर के पास बैठ गया कृष्ण. उसका आदत ही है सबके सर के ऊपर बैठने का. But Arjuna, interestingly, he's a devotee of Krishna, so he wants to massage the feet of Krishna. So this is the nature of a devotee. He always wants to serve the Lord and the Lord's activities, Lord's mission. Now, when Krishna gets up after some time, see, if you all also have experience, when you get up from your sleep, the first thing you look at is your feet. So the same happened with Krishna. Krishna looked at the feet, and who was there at the feet of Krishna? It was Arjuna who was massaging his feet. So immediately Krishna said, "Oh, my dear friend Arjuna, you have come here. Oh, what is the news? कैसे आना हुआ यहाँ पर?" And immediately Duryodhana started coming, interrupting in middle and said, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, see, I am also there. Don't think that only Arjuna is there. I am also there. ऐसा नहीं कि आप अर्जुन का ही सुन के उसी को सब चीज दे दो." And immediately Duryodhana interrupted, and Krishna immediately asked, "Okay, Duryodhana, आप भी आए हो? अच्छा, कुछ तो काम होगा इसीलिए तो तुम आए होगे." So immediately Duryodhana said that, "See Krishna, you are a relative of both of us. So both of us have asked here to ask you to fight on our side in the battle." Now Krishna said, "See, I am a relative of both of you. Now I want to give something to both of you. But the first choice, okay, I'll give you A or B, two options. The first option is one of you can have my entire Narayani Sena with crores of soldiers. You can have the entire Narayani Sena where each soldier is a Maharathi, is almost as powerful as Krishna himself, with all the weapons, with all the chariots, with all the horses, everything. This is on one side. And the other side, I give myself to you, but without any weapons, without any fighting. I'll only be there to give you advice, to give you guidance." That's all. When Duryodhana heard this, his calculation, you see, this is the difference between calculation of a materialist and a spiritualist. A spiritualist is essentially a person who understands the plan of the God and he acts in this world according to the will of the Lord and the plan of the Lord. And a materialist has all external calculations and material calculations. So Duryodhana immediately began his calculations. My God, 1 crore soldiers with all weapons, with all horses, with all chariots. This is what is being given on one side, and on the other side, it is Krishna without any weapons, without any chariots. So immediately he calculated through his mathematics, 1 crore is much greater than 1 minus something like that. And then he was thinking that he should be the one to select first. By that time, Krishna himself said that, see, I saw Arjuna first, and Arjuna is also younger to you. So I think Arjuna should be given the first. Duryodhana said, and he was like in great anxiety, thinking that what if Arjuna selects the Narayani Sena? And as soon as Krishna asked Arjuna, what do you want? And Arjuna said, my dear Lord, what will I take? I just want you to be on my side, that's all. And Krishna was amazed, surprised, and Duryodhana was like shocked practically. And Duryodhana said, Duryodhana was in great surprise, but to show to Krishna, because now he has a Narayani Sena and he doesn't have Krishna. So to show to Krishna, Duryodhana said that now mere paas bacha bhi kya hai? So Krishna, I'm okay with whatever is remaining. Okay, I will go with the Narayani Sena. Arjuna can have you. And that's all. Duryodhana left with the Narayani Sena. But while he was leaving, Duryodhana was smiling and laughing in his own. And he was thinking, is this Arjuna madman taking Krishna on his side? And then Krishna asked Arjuna this question. Arjuna, what is the reason that you did not select the Narayani Sena and you selected me? And I told I am not going to fight. And immediately Arjuna said, Krishna, what do you think? Don't you know that I have also read scriptures? I also know Bhagavad Gita. In fact, I am the first recipient of Bhagavad Gita, which will happen now. But I'll tell you, I know. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yena Pakshe Janardhana. Jayastu Pandu Putranam. The day when Janardhana, Krishna, came on the side of Arjuna, that day itself, the Pandavas' victory was written down in text. It was only to be manifest later. So Bhagavad Gita is compared to a jewel. So Bhagavad Gita is having 18 chapters, and Bhagavad Gita has in those 18 chapters 700 shlokas. Okay, I repeat, 18 chapters and 700 shlokas. So the great commentators on the Gita, they have divided Bhagavad Gita and they have compared Bhagavad Gita to a jewel box. Just like on an engagement, a boyfriend, he may give a beautiful diamond ring to his girl, to his fiance, and when he gives that jewel box, so can you tell me what is the most important part of the jewel box? So is it the upper cover, or is it the lower cover, or is it something within it? So all of you know that the jewel box, the cost of the box may be just 50 or 100 or 200 or at max 1000 rupees. But the diamond jewel which is there within it, that costs more than lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. Just like that, the Gita is also compared. So the Gita is compared to a jewel box where the lower covering is compared to the first 6 chapters. The upper covering is compared to the last 6 chapters, and in middle of the jewel box is the diamond ring, which is the middle 6 chapters. Just like all of you, when you eat this bread jam or bread sandwich, any of these kind of things, what is the most tasty part you like? You like the middle part, which has paneer and which has like different sabjis and the salad and various stuffings put in, and the bread is there as a covering. So this is the comparison. So we also last time saw some shlokas from Gita Mahatmya talking about the glory of the Bhagavad Gita. So one of the glory of Bhagavad Gita is one who reads Gita, he cleanses his mind, just like by taking a bath, one cleanses his body. So Gita is compared to Ganga waters, which cleanses one's existence. Okay, this is a very interesting PPT, interesting slide you all can see. I'll try to read it. Who should read Bhagavad Gita? Okay, the young to learn how to live, the old to know how to die, the ignorant for wisdom, the learned for humility, the rich for compassion, the dreamer for enchantment, the practical for counsel, the weak for strength, the strong for direction, the humble for exaltation, the weary for rest, the troubled for peace, the doubting for assurance, the sinner for salvation, the seeker for moksha, the human for guidance. So practically, Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone, because just like a manual with a machine comes, which is meant for everyone to use properly, like that Gita is a manual for humanity. Yeah. Another interesting shloka which we saw was how Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. Just like there is a cow, and the essence of cow is the milk. So the comparison is being given between Vedas or Upanishads like a cow, and the milk which is coming out from the cow is compared to Gita Amritam. And the the person who is taking out the milk, दूध दोहने वाला, the person, the milkman, he is being compared to Krishna, who is bringing out the milk from the scriptures. And the calf which drinks the milk is being compared to Partha, is compared to Arjuna. And Shankaracharya summarizes the Gita Mahatmya with this very beautiful shloka. Ekam shastram devaki putra gitam, eko devo devaki putra eva. Eko mantrastasya namani karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. Let there be one scripture, which is Devaki Putra Gitam, which is Bhagavad Gita. Let there be one God, which is Devaki Putra Eva. He is none other than the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Let there be one mantra which is composed of the names of him. And the Kali Yuga mantra, which is meant for this age of Kali Yuga, is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And let everyone, whatever field of life they may be, whatever activities they may be doing, let them dedicate everything for the service of the Supreme Lord. Let every activity be done for his pleasure. So a student who studies, for a corporate who works, for a housewife who raises children, let everyone try to do that in a spirit of yoga, in a spirit of connecting themselves and the world to Krishna. So overview of Bhagavad Gita's 18 chapters can be said to be, the first 6 chapters talk about how one should learn to work. The middle 6 chapters talk about how one should learn to work for Krishna. And the last 6 chapters talk about how one should learn to work for Krishna living in this world. So this is the first very celebrated shloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by none other than Dhritarashtra. So many times people think the first shloka would have been spoken by Arjuna or Krishna, but interestingly it was spoken by Dhritarashtra. And the second shloka, you will come to know that it is neither spoken by Dhritarashtra, neither by Krishna, neither by Arjuna. It is because Bhagavad Gita is a conversation within a conversation. So the actual conversation is between Krishna and Arjuna, and that conversation is being put between a conversation of Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. So here Dhritarashtra is asking a very beautiful question to Sanjaya. Dharmakshetre kurukshetre. So the first word Dharmakshetra itself indicates what is going on in the mind of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is desirous of his sons being victorious, but the problem is he is doubtful of whether they will be victorious. What to speak of being doubtful, he is all the more fearful that his sons will not be victorious. And the reason for that is that Dhritarashtra knows that his sons are number one adharmi number 8. And he also knows that the sons of Pandavas, they are none other than the sons of Dharma. Above all, let alone the opponents be, but the match is happening on a ground which is favoring the batsman. Who is the batsman? Pandavas are the batsmen. Just imagine flat pitch, and batsmen are like Kohli and Rohit Sharma and whatever best players, you know, you take the world best 11. And on the other side, like you keep someone like Afghanistan or Bangladesh or whatever, and you keep the bowlers. The 11 of them are bowlers. None of them are batsmen, and you are having a match. Now, what is the result going to be? Is there any? Do you need any great astrologer to predict what is going to happen? That you and me can also tell that if such a flat pitch is there, and if such batsmen are there on one side, and one side such useless team and all filled with bowlers are there, they are going to be practically hit on every ball for six. Now Dhritarashtra also knows that this place is a dharma kshetra, and on a dharma kshetra, it is going to be favoring the sons of dharma, who are Pandavas, and their own sons, who are adharmis number one, they have no chance to stand. So that's why he's out of great fear. He's speaking this. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. Here you can see Dhritarashtra's attachment. He says, Mamaka, मेरे बेटे और पांडु के बेटे दोनों आए हैं सामने. किमकुरुवत संजय, क्या हो रहा है संजय? So the answer to this question, Sanjay concludes in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita can also be told to be a first verse as a question and the last verse as an answer. So in the last verse he says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruvaniter Matir Mama. Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra, अरे बेवकूफ धृतराष्ट्र, कौन अब ऐसा पिच है, ऐसे सारे धुरंधर बैट्समैन एक साइड और तेरे तेरे टीम वाले सब बॉलर बैठे हुए, क्या रिजल्ट आने वाला है? रिजल्ट तो फिक्स ही है, क्योंकि जहां पर अंपायर भी, और मान लो अंपायर भी बायस्ड है बैट्समैन को लेकर, तब तो कुछ बोलना ही नहीं. So he said, where there is Krishna and where there is Arjuna and where there are Pandavas, victory will be surely on their side. But we will see that right in the first chapter, without this verse comes in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what Sanjay spoke. But right in the first chapter, we will see certain signs of victory. Victory के कुछ आपको चिन्ह दिखाई देंगे कि कैसे Arjun and Pandavas are going to be victorious. So this is the lesson which we learn. One of the lessons, very important. Being on God's side is million times superior to one's own political diplomacy and material expertise. So who is the personification of political diplomacy and material expertise? It is Duryodhana, and that is why he took on his side whom? The entire Narayani Sena. Do you know how much was there on Kaurava's side? There were 11 Akshohini Senas on Kaurava's side, and there were only 7 Akshohini Senas on Pandava's side. So can you imagine? It was almost 1.5 times what the Pandavas had army, that the Kauravas had. But still, even though 11 is greater than 7, and even though 100 Kauravas, 100 is greater than 5 Pandavas, but the infinite potential of Krishna, when it goes on any side, that side will unlimitedly become powerful. Nobody. What to speak of 7 Akshohini Senas, even if the Pandavas had only Arjuna fighting and no Sena, still the victory will be on Arjuna's side. That is why one should not put logic in thinking that whether I should be on God's side or whether I should be on against God's side, God's compliments, or whether I should be whether I should follow dharma or whether I should follow adharma. How much ever a person may be very greatly powerful, but if he is on the side of adharma, he is going to surely be defeated. So we will see this. So we will see how Duryodhana's fear and diplomacy is also revealed. So this is Shloka 1.3 in Bhagavad Gita, the third shloka of first chapter. Pashyaitan Pandaputranam Acharya Mahitim Chamum Vyudhuram Drupada Putrena Davashishyena Dhimata. So Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya. And what is Duryodhana talking to Dronacharya? He is telling to Dronacharya that Pashyitan Panduputranam Acharya Mahitim Chamu. ओ देखिए आचार्य, क्योंकि द्रोणाचार्य इज none other than the teacher of the Duryodhana and Pandavas and Kauravas. So he says आचार्य, ओ महान आचार्य, आचार्य महितिम चमू, ओ महान आचार्य, आप देखिए पश्येतान पांडु पुत्राणाम, देखिए सारे पांडु के पुत्रों को देखिए, और ये जो मिलिट्री अरेंजमेंट है वो किसने किया है? व्युडूदम द्रुपद पुत्रेण। यहाँ बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग शब्द आया है, द्रुपद पुत्रेण। ये द्रुपद पुत्र कौन है? दृष्टद्युम्न है उसका नाम। So Drupada had two children. One was Draupadi and one was Drishtyadumna. So Drishtyadumna is a son who was born to kill Dronacharya in future. So now I want to take you little to Mahabharata to tell you the history of Dronacharya and Drupada. Very interesting. So Dronacharya and Drupada, long ago, both of them were students in a Gurukul, where both of them were very thick friends. There was great thick friendship between both of them. Dronacharya was a Brahmana and Drupada was a Kshatriya. Now when they passed out from Gurukul, what happened was that Dronacharya became very poor and he was not very wealthy. He was in fact struggling for his basic needs. Whereas on the other side, Drupada became the king. He became a very big special king, and he had a huge kingdom and he was very rich. So one time Dronacharya approached Drupada. So you can see there's a very similar story with Krishna also, where his childhood friend who studied with him in Gurukul, who was very poor, who approached Krishna in Dwaraka for some help. So I want all of you to quickly guess the answer. Can all of you quickly guess the answer? That who was Krishna's friend who approached him for help? Okay, Sudama. So yeah, many of you are writing Sudama. Exactly. Thank you. I just wanted to know whether all of you are able to understand till now what I'm discussing. That's why I just asked this small question. Thank you very much. I'm getting a lot of chat comments on the chat box, but I know it is Sudama. But you see a contrast between Sudama's friendship with Krishna and Dronacharya and Drupada's friendship. So Dronacharya approaches Drupada and he says that, oh, my dear friend. And as soon as he says, my dear friend, Drupada comes out and he starts using slang words against Drona and starts saying, how dare you call me your friend? Call me your friend. And he says that friendship is possible only on equal status. Just see where you are and what you are wearing. You are a very poor, tiny Brahmana, and I am the king, Drupada. So how dare you try to establish friendship with me? Just get out from here. And he removes him from there, and neither does he give any help. Later, the same Dronacharya becomes the great Acharya for the Kurus and the Pandus. So the Kauravas and Pandavas have Dronacharya as their Acharya. So when at the end, after teaching, Dronacharya taught Pandavas and Kauravas all the Astra Vidya and everything. Then all the students of Dronacharya approached him and asked, my dear Acharya, what Guru Dakshina do you want us to give? And then Dronacharya said, oh, you want to give a Guru Dakshina? And he narrated the entire story, what happened long before. He said, if you can bring this Drupada alive in front of me and make him touch my feet, make his head touch my feet, I will consider giving all of you knowledge successful. And then all the Pandavas, they went and conquered Drupada, and alive Drupada, जैसे आपने मूवीज में भी देखा होगा कि उसको बांध के एक कुत्ते के जैसे उसको लेके आते हैं, उसको मारते भी नहीं है और उसको जिंदा उसके पैरों पे गिरा देते हैं। और फिर वो उस मूवी में ऐसा सीन आता है कि याद है वो दिन तुम्हें जिस दिन मैं आया था तुम्हारे द्वार पे और तुमने मुझे ठुकरा दिया था, and all this kind of. So Mahabharata is filled with so all modern day serials are deriving from Mahabharata only. Whatever spices you want in a serial, everything is available in Mahabharata. And then you know what Dronacharya did? So Drupada was at his feet, his head was at his feet, and Dronacharya said, but even though you rejected me, I can kill you right now, but because I'm a Brahmana, I'm going to spare you. जाओ, छोड़ दिया तुम, जाओ, जीते रहो, मेरे जो भीख मैंने डाला है उस भीख के दम पे तुम जीते रहो. And he left. But Drupada was a Kshatriya, he was greatly insulted. For people in this world, the greatest tragedy happens when someone insults them, when their false ego is thrashed thoroughly. Then Drupada goes back and he now thinks that I want to do a yagya which will produce a son which will kill Dronacharya. And that son was Drishtadyumna. And another very interesting story, Drishtadyumna went ahead to Dronacharya to learn military art. And Dronacharya, being a Brahmana, did not reject him, but taught him military art. And Duryodhana very politically is capitalizing on that point to वो द्रोणाचार्य के जले पे नमक छिड़कना चाहता था दुर्योधन. और वो क्या बोल रहा है कि वो देखो वो कौन है पता है, द्रुपद पुत्रेना. He didn't use the word Drishtadyumna, he used the word Drupada putrena, because he wanted to tell, first of all, Drupada is your enemy. Second, the son of Drupada was meant for your killing. He is meant to kill you. And the third, he also wants to say, you are so foolish that after knowing that he is your enemy's son and after knowing that he is born to kill you, you still taught him military phalanx. And today, with that expertise only, he has arranged the entire Pandavas military. So this is Duryodhana's political attitude. Yeah. So after this, we'll see. So let us observe what is going on in the mind of these great fighters. So Duryodhana, if you see his heart, he's very wicked and very evil-minded, because he has lot of attachment to kingdom and he's very insecure due to Pandavas. In fact, when the Pandavas came, they said that because we are Kshatriyas, can you just give us 5 villages to rule? And Duryodhana said, I will not give even that much place where you can put a pin, where you can enter the tip of a needle. मैं उतना भी जगह नहीं दूंगा तुम लोगों को. And now you see the fight is inevitable. This is Duryodhana. And giving Pandavas their share. So if he would have thought to give Pandavas their share and take advice of Krishna, it would have really saved him. But you can see what is, this is like a balance. Like what is भारी, क्या भारी पड़ रहा है दुर्योधन के हाथ में? The insecurity and the envy due which he has to Pandavas and the attachment to his kingdom. This is what is prominent in Duryodhana. If you see Dhritarashtra, he's a king. So he's supposed to be righteous. He is supposed to give justice to Pandavas. But what is, कौन सा क्या कहते हैं, कौन सा पड़ला भारी पड़ रहा है धृतराष्ट्र के लाइफ में? Attachment to being an emperor. धृत राष्ट्र, धृत मतलब अटैच्ड और राष्ट्र मतलब किंगडम. सो जो अपने एम्पररशिप से बहुत अटैच्ड है. सो धृतराष्ट्र रिप्रेजेंट्स मॉडर्न डे ओल्ड पॉलिटिशियंस. इतने ओल्ड हो जाते हैं कि ठीक से बोल नहीं पा रहे, मुंह पूरा टेढ़ा हो चुका है, हाथ नहीं चल रहा है, पैर नहीं चल रहा है, सांस भी ले नहीं पा रहे हैं, कभी कभी वेंटिलेटर पे रहना पड़ता है, लेकिन गद्दी नहीं छोड़ेंगे, गद्दी नहीं छोड़ेंगे. वही धृतराष्ट्र का हाल है. So you can imagine Dhritarashtra to be one of the wicked. There are good people also in politics, but old wicked politician who has lot of attachment to the gaddi, and his son Duryodhana, he is the family inherit of the political seat, and he has attachment to his son. Okay. Now let us see what is happening in Dronacharya's. So Dronacharya should have taken the side of dharma, because he was a Brahmana, he knew what is dharma. But because of his attachment to his son Ashwathama and so-called loyalty to his king Duryodhana, he has taken the side of Duryodhana in the fight. So this is the story which I shared about Arjuna and Duryodhana both approaching Krishna, and Arjuna took Krishna and Duryodhana took Narayani Sena. So this is the lesson 3 which we learn. Where there is Krishna, there is always victory. So this you can see in from 12th shloka to the 19th shloka. These shlokas are termed as signs of victory. These shlokas indicate that how right in the onset of the battle, it was very clear that who is going to be victorious. So we are going to see few shlokas of this and we will proceed ahead. Tata Shweter Hayar Ukte Mahati Syandane Stito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shankho Pradhamatto. So you see, both Krishna and Arjuna, when they blow their conch shells, the very beautiful word used here is Divya Shankho. Divya Shankha means the conch shells of Krishna and Arjuna are termed transcendental, are termed spiritual. Whereas before this many shlokas, it was all Kaurava conch shells being blown, which were not transcendental, which were not spiritual, which were not connected with victory. So also be ready for the quiz at the end. So you may get some questions from here also, like uh, Krishna's conch shell. The name of Krishna's conch shell is Panchajanya. It comes in a shloka, 15th shloka. Arjuna's conch shell is named Devadatta. Okay. Bhima's conch shell is Poundra. Sahadev's conch shell is Mani Pushpaka. Like that, different. But Krishna's conch shell and Arjuna's conch shell are very important because they are signs of victory. Okay. What other signs of victory are there in the battle of Kurukshetra? You can see here. If you see in the middle picture on the right side, you will observe on the chariot of Krishna, on the chariot of Arjuna, there is Hanumanji there at the flag of Arjuna. So Hanumanji represents that when Hanuman was on the side of Lord Ram, so Lord Ram's army became victorious in the battle with Lanka, in the battle with Ravana. The same thing Hanumanji is going to prove here also, that Hanumanji coming on the flag of Arjuna shows that Arjuna's side, the Pandava side, is surely going to be victorious. Another sign of victory is the chariot of Arjuna itself, because the chariot of Arjuna was gifted by Agni Dev. So it was fire god who gifted the chariot of Arjuna. So that itself is also a sign of victory. And another big sign of victory is the battle of Kurukshetra, the place where this is going to happen, which I already told that it is Dharmakshetra. So I told you 4 signs of victory. First, the conch shells of Krishna and Arjuna. Second, the chariot of Arjuna. Third, Hanumanji's presence on the flag of Arjuna. And fourth, the place of the battle of Kurukshetra, battle of the place of the battle, that was Kurukshetra. So all these indicate that the Pandavas are going to be victorious. But you know, the 5th one is the actual one, and the 5th one is Krishna himself is present on Arjuna's side. That is the actual reason. Now let us observe what is happening in Krishna's heart. Krishna becomes the charioteer. So one side, Krishna has his opulences of wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, strength, everything. But all this, when put on a taraju, is all so light in front of Krishna's love for his devotees, Krishna's friendship for his dear friend Arjuna. So because whoever becomes Krishna's devotee or whoever tries to serve Krishna and love him, Krishna feels so much obliged that he wants to give him protection. So this is Krishna's friendship. And Arjuna, what is now Arjuna? We will come to Arjuna, what is happening in Arjuna's life. Okay. So every individual in life passes through complex situations which they can't solve on their own. So if you see from 26th shloka onwards, you will see that Arjuna is going to start weeping and crying that Krishna, I cannot fight this battle. So the shlokas are very beautiful. I request each one of you to personally go through it, where Arjuna says, my mind is reeling, my Gandiva bow is slipping. I cannot understand what good will come if we have this battle. And he starts speaking all this. Now, here is something very interesting. You see, in life, problems, complexities, and all these different things come not just to simple people, but very, very great individuals. recently we heard of actors committing suicide. There's a the left corner person is a very famous comedian of West who committed suicide. The right one is a sportsman. Right people are sportsmen. You know about them. One is from golf, Tiger Woods. He was put into such difficult times when he got illicitly connected with a woman other than outside his marriage. And you know about him also, Steve Smith, who admitted there was some kind of ill play which they played in the some kind of ball tampering or something they did, match fixing. So let us see in competence. Arjuna was the greatest archer. Arjuna was trained and learned in Shastras. Arjuna had a great lineage. So Kaunteya, that your mother lineage is such so special, like Kunti, and your the fatherly lineage is Bharata, the king. You are coming in the lineage of Bharat Maharaj, so that is also so special. So he has a great lineage, and he was very beautiful. He was the king. He was great archer. He was Gudakesh. He could conquer ignorance. He could master any skill that night itself. These were Arjuna's competence. And do you know about Arjuna went to heaven? Arjuna is in one way the son of Indra. So in heaven there are very beautiful apsaras, heavenly damsels who perform dance in the evening time. So Arjuna was observing a dance very carefully, and that was the most beautiful damsel of heaven, which was Urvashi. When Arjuna saw Urvashi like this, then Indra noticed this, and Indra, thinking that my son wants to enjoy with Urvashi, told Urvashi to go and propose to Arjuna and give him an opportunity to enjoy with Urvashi. And Urvashi goes there in the twilight time, in the evening time, and goes to Arjuna's quarters and asks Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, you are so handsome. I want to enjoy with you." And Arjuna said, "Do you know what was I thinking when I saw you?" He said, "When you came to Earth planet, you were the wife of my great great grandfather Pururava. And when I was looking at you, I was thinking you to be my great 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 grandmother." And Urvashi, what the nonsense you are speaking? Do you understand? I am so beautiful and so young, and you are calling me like great 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 grandmother. Sometimes, like many times, devotees in Vedic culture, everyone would be called as a Mataji. So, like in my culture also, we call generally every woman as Mataji. One time I was going in a train and I happened to call a young girl Mataji. And see, Mataji is out of respect because everyone is either a Mataji or a potential Mataji. But this girl, she must be a college girl, and when she heard that I'm calling her a Mataji, and she looked up and down like this to me, and she said, "From which angle do I look to you a Mataji?" And I said, "Sorry, ma'am." So people want to hear madam, ma'am, and I don't know what all they want to hear. So Urvashi also became furious on Arjuna. And in fact, Urvashi cursed Arjuna that because of this, you will become a eunuch. And Arjuna became Brihanal, the dance teacher. But interestingly, because Arjuna was a great devotee, that is why he could convert every misfortune into a fortune. So life essentially is a school where we have to learn how to convert misfortune into fortune. So today we are going to see how Arjuna is in great tragedy, and in tomorrow's session we will see how by taking the right guidance he converted it from misfortune to fortune. So he took, so he has Krishna as his guide. So everything which a person wants in life was there with Arjuna. So I'm going to show you a small video. I request all of you to kindly watch this video because this 3 to 4 minutes clip will talk about how difficult situations are very good in our life to grow. So, yeah.
Stress requires proper management. Without stress, rarely anyone can actually grow in any field in life, materially or spiritually. Let's give an example of athletes. What is weightlifting? Weightlifting is about enduring stress. Yes? Now, the more stress you manage properly, the stronger you become. But if you don't manage it properly, you could break your back and pull all your muscles out. So we require, teachers, and we require, common sense and discrimination in order to actually utilize stress to grow. A runner is, the lungs are pumping in stress. If the runner just sits home and says, I'm just going to eat potato chips and watch television, he's not going to be as fast runner. But if he pushes himself too far, then he'll be in a hospital. Huh? So stress is what makes a person strong. In studies, nobody, at least I didn't like exams, because exams put you in stress because you have to prepare for it. Now, I know people who've been so much stressed out by exams that they actually jump off buildings and commit suicide. Now, myself, I really never could care less about exams when I was in school. Whether I passed or failed really didn't mean anything to me. So that wasn't very good either. That's why I'm a sadhu today. But one person, the stress is so much that they can't even bear living. But if you manage stress properly, that stress will actually induce you to really put your capacity into your studies so you can do the best you can be in your exams. Mother Nature teaches us many lessons. What is a diamond? A diamond, which is the queen of jewels, is nothing more than coal that's been under a massive amount of pressure for a long time. And gold, the king of metals, it's purified with fire. So stress can make us something beautiful if we learn how to manage it properly. And as you said, that means to accept stress with a grateful heart and to actually learn the art of growing through that stress. In order to do so, it's important that we have a strong foundation. Because in life, storms will come for everyone. Whether we're little swamis without a bank account or billionaires. Whether we're PhDs or never had an education. Stress and the storms of life are inevitable for everyone. They come in different ways, but the effect is same.
Yeah. So he is a very famous speaker, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, who gives seminars all across the globe, and he's one of my prominent inspirations and my spiritual teachers. I just thought to play a small clip of his, where he so beautifully says that diamond is diamond today because it has learned the art of converting a misfortune into fortune. Gold is shining today because it has learned the art to manage stress properly. So all of us need a deep foundation and proper guidance through which we in our own life can evolve. So Arjuna gives 5 reasons for not fighting. So these are from verses 28 to the end of the chapter. So practically half of the chapter of the first chapter is about why Arjuna doesn't want to fight. Now Arjuna is talking with Krishna so many logics. He says that I am feeling compassion for my own kinsmen. What is the use of fighting and killing them? Because ultimately whatever you have, you enjoy with your own relatives. But my relatives are gone, then whom will I enjoy with? And killing people involves sin. Paap lagega mujhe. I am fearful of sin. And he says, what if so many soldiers get killed? All their wives will become widows. And if they are exploited by some other men, then it will destroy the family tradition. And then Arjuna says, all these different reasons are making me completely blind to what is dharma. And I cannot decide what I should do. So Arjuna is giving all these reasons for not fighting. And then Sanjaya says in this 46th shloka that which is the last shloka of the Gita, where Sanjaya says, Evamuktva Arjuna, Evamuktva Arjuna Sankhye Rathopastha Upavishat Visrijya Sasharam Chapam Shokam Vigna Masanam. Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Here, Arjuna has completely stopped the battle and given up the fight. You see, this is how the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is coming to end. Now, I wanted to show that video also, but okay, we can see this. But before, I can send that on WhatsApp. So, best time to evolve and learn is the greatest obstacles and challenges in life. So, this I told about Arjuna's example, and we saw that clip on stress also. Similar, another example comes of King Parikshit. So, when Parikshit was cursed to die in 7 days, that is when he really took very seriously that he wants to hear the knowledge of the Gita and the Bhagavatam and wants to perfect his life. And in 7 days, practically, what came out is the world's greatest another scripture called as Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is another example of how misfortune can be converted to fortune. So Bhagavad Gita can empower us to make the right choice. So I want to give an example of driving a car on a road. So when we drive a car on a road, we need 4 things. One, we need to know what is the destination. So when you use a Google map, when you use your Ola or Uber, first thing you put is a destination. And what it gives you is a direction to follow. Okay, this is the route you have to take. So destination, direction. But along with it, you also need to know that there are some traffic rules to be followed. Okay, when the signal is green, you have to go. When the signal is red, you have to stop. So you need to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong on the path, on the direction towards the destination also. And to follow that, so many times, many of us in our life have discrimination of what is right, what is wrong. But the essential difference comes of determination, where we lack that strength to follow the path of dharma. So Arjuna also is lacking discrimination, determination, direction, and destination, which he will get by hearing from Krishna from the 2nd chapter onwards. So Krishna is our heart-to-heart friend. So just like we heard about Drupada and Drona, completely contrasting character is Krishna. So when we see Krishna's dealings with Sudama, so Srila Prabhupada says, if one makes friendship with Krishna, one will never be cheated and he will get all help needed. So I'm going to show you a 3 minutes clip. That will be almost the conclusion of our session, and then we will have our quiz also. So kindly watch this small clip of Krishna and Sudama.
Tattered. As he entered the city, Sudama was filled with awe. Looking around, he saw beautiful mansions, people wearing rich clothes, shops laden with goods of all kinds. People were laughing and talking everywhere. The city was a picture of prosperity and contentment. Seeing all this only made Sudama more painfully aware of his torn clothes, dirty and unwashed body, and sore feet. Fearfully, he approached the palace gates. "Who goes there and what do you want?" One of the guards stopped him. "I want to meet Krishna. My name is Sudama. I am Krishna's childhood friend," stammered Sudama fearfully. "Please wait here a moment. I will return shortly," the guard said as he disappeared behind the huge palace gates. Sudama's mind was filled with anxious thoughts as he waited for the guard to return. Soon he heard the sound of running feet. Sudama was terrified. "The guards must have called other guards to arrest me. for calling the great king my friend. Oh, what will I do now? He thought fearfully. Next moment, the gates burst open. And to Sudama's astonishment, he saw Krishna rushing towards him. He was followed by Rukmini and all his courtiers. Krishna ran to him, threw his arms around him, and hugged him in a tight embrace. Oh, Sudama, how much I have missed you! Where have you been for so many years? Krishna started talking excitedly to Sudama. Sudama was dumbstruck. He could not say a word. His eyes filled with tears at the way Krishna had received him. But Krishna would not stop talking. He was very excited. Do you remember our days at the Gurukul? Oh, what beautiful days we spent there. And do you remember the way we sneaked off into the forest? He went on and on. Rukmini, do you know who this is? Krishna's wife Rukmini answered. Yes, my lord. You've spoken about your friend 1,000 times. You also used to say that he will surely come to visit you someday. My lord, your friend must be tired. Why don't we take him inside and let him rest a while? You can talk to him all you want after that. Oh yes, please, come in, Sudama. I was so excited to see you that I totally forgot about anything else, said Krishna. Krishna and Rukmini took Sudama inside. Sudama was amazed with the grandeur of the palace. Come, my friend, you must be tired after your journey. Let me wash your tired feet for you. Krishna washed Sudama's tired and sore feet in a golden basin filled with perfumed water. All the courtiers were filled with amazement and respect for their king.
Yeah, so we see how Krishna is receiving Sudama, and Krishna is washing the feet of Sudama. And I didn't show the entire clip, but Krishna is going to eat the poha which was brought by Sudama. I can share the entire clip with you on WhatsApp and you can see that. Okay, I'm going to show you one more small clip, which is how many different ways, there are some ways which Krishna protected Arjuna. So I skipped that video that time. I'll show you that now. It's a 3-minute video.
Jayadratha. On hearing the news of Abhimanyu's death and that Jayadratha was responsible for it, a lamenting Arjuna vowed to kill Jayadratha before sundown the next day, failing which he would kill himself by jumping into the sacrificial fire. The Kauravas, hearing of this, safeguarded Jayadratha very well, knowing that Arjuna's death would mean victory to them. Lord Krishna used his Sudarshana Chakra to create an illusion of sunset. A rejoicing Jayadratha came out of his hiding and was beheaded instantly by Arjuna on the 14th day of the battle. Number 3, Vridakshtra. Jayadratha's father, Vridakshtra, had received a boon from Lord Shiva that whoever was responsible for Jayadratha's head to roll to the ground would have his head blasted into 100 pieces. Arjuna beheaded Jayadratha when Krishna advised him to shoot arrows in a manner where the head is dropped in the lap of Vridakshtra. A meditating Vridakshtra opened his eyes to find his son's head. He got up in shock and the head rolled onto the ground. And the very next minute, because of the curse, Vridakshtra's head blew into many pieces. Number 2, Ghatotkacha. For donating his Kavachak and Kundala to Indra, Karna was granted the powerful Vasavi Shakti to use once in the war. Karna was saving that weapon for his fight against Arjuna. Knowing this, Krishna asked Bhima to summon his son Ghatotkacha to fight on the Pandavas' side. He wreaked great damage to the Kaurava side. When it seemed like they would lose the battle the very same day, Duryodhana requested Karna to use the Vasavi Shakti against Ghatotkacha. Karna refused, but seeing the fleeing Kaurava side, he was forced to use it to kill Ghatotkacha. Even before the one-on-one between Karna and Arjuna, Krishna had ensured Arjuna's victory. Number 1, Nagastra. During the battle between Karna and Arjuna, Karna used the powerful Nagastra against Arjuna. The weapon had an unerring aim and would have proved fatal on impact. However, Krishna pressed his toe and lowered the chariot 2 feet into the ground. The weapon missed Arjuna's head and struck his crown. If it had struck Arjuna, it would have surely cost the Pandavas their victory, and history as we know it
So let me just summarize the lessons which we learned today. The first thing what we saw from yesterday was that how one should understand how Krishna is the Supreme Lord before trying to read Bhagavad Gita. At least theoretically, one should be convinced of this. The second thing which we saw was how everyone in this world will be put through lot of challenges, lot of obstacles, lot of difficulties, but these are life is meant to convert misfortunes into fortune. Then we saw that how Krishna is our heart-to-heart friend who can save us from any difficulty, any calamity, and who never rejects us if we approach him. We also saw that how from all material calculations, even though Duryodhana was superior and Duryodhana's army was superior, but victory is sure for one who is on Krishna's side. And we also saw the signs of victory, which Arjuna, the conchals of Arjuna and Krishna, and the chariot of Arjuna, and the place of Kurukshetra battle which was happening, and also Hanuman ji who was there on the flag of Arjuna. These were there. And then we saw that how even if a person is as great as Arjuna, we saw about Arjuna's greatness, but still in life he will be perplexed, and at that time 2 things are very important. He needs a deep foundation and he needs proper guidance. And we saw how Gita can empower us, Bhagavad Gita can empower us to make the right choices by a 4D formula. What was the 4D formula which we saw? 1, it can give us the right destination and the direction to go towards the destination, and the discrimination to be followed on the path of the destination, and the determination to stick to the path. So destination, direction, discrimination, and determination. So now I request Shivam to quickly upload. If any one of you have any questions, you can ask me by that time, and you can write it on the chat box, and I request Shivam to quickly put the quiz for all of you. Okay, so I have already got few questions which I will try to answer. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, a question is there from Garima. Yeah. Sir, what could have been the result if Duryodhana had chosen Krishna to his side, acting witty? Then obviously the one who is with Krishna would win. Okay, nice, very beautiful question. See, you don't have to worry. The nature of Duryodhana is that he will always do his material calculations. So, yeah. So practically, Duryodhana is one who doesn't choose Krishna. And if Duryodhana would have chosen Krishna, then because Arjuna is always on Krishna's side, then Krishna would have arranged in such a manner that there would have been no fight and there would be division of property between both the brothers, both the parties. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How we can define dharma? Very beautiful. To tell you in very brief, dharma to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. According to scriptures, dharma is that which is ordained by scriptures, ordained by God. So the literal meaning of dharma is our nature, and our nature as living entities, as part and parcel of the Lord, is that we serve and love God. That is the actual dharma. Just like when you say salt, the nature, the dharma of the salt is to be salty. Can you call this? Can you give me that sweet salt? Or can you tell? वो नमकीन चीनी दे सकते हो क्या? नो, नमकीन चीनी नहीं होता है, चीनी है तो मीठा ही होगा, नमक है तो वो नमकीन ही होगा. So this is the essential constitutional nature which cannot be separated from something, that is called the dharma. So the living entity has a dharma of always being the servant and always loving and serving God. And for all of us, practically, dharma means that which scriptures say as do's and don'ts. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad Pranam. Okay. So here, Shivam, he has uploaded, he has given the link for the quiz. So I request each one of you to quickly go to the link, and in next 5 minutes, you can quickly solve the quiz. And you don't have to disconnect, because if you disconnect, then you will not be able to hear the announcement of the scores. If you quickly go and solve the quiz based on today's session, what you heard, I'm going to write here, tell you the winners of today's quiz. Okay, so can you, I hope all of you are able to go to the link and start your quiz. Is it working, Shivam? Okay. Just a minute, I am unmuting Shivam. He will announce you the result. Just a minute, I am unmuting Shivam. He will announce the results.
Am I audible now?
So,
The winners are the first person who won is Shikhar. So Shikhar is the first person. He scored 100%, solving all the questions correct. So congratulations, Shikhar. And second is Gaurav Tiwari. Shikhar is from Ankit Tiwari, Gaurav Tiwari. Okay. Third is Ishwar Varanasi, BHU Metallurgy, Vijay BHU. Okay. Then Parkeshwar Dubey, IIT BHU. 12 questions correct. Purvansh Mishra. Some more people are coming. Abhinandan Chaube, Prabhujit, Tarkeshwar Dubey. Oh, we have a lot of winners. Only one person has scored. 2% have scored full and full. Shikhar and Gaurav. In second position, we have a lot of people. Tarkeshwar, Prabhujit, Abhinandan. Okay. And on third position, we have Ishwar Varanasi. Then we have Purvansh Mishra, Virendra Singh, okay, Swagatika Jaina, and Rajneesh Singh. So we have a lot of winners, and I think some people are still giving the quiz. Garima and Swapnesh are still giving the quiz. So once again, you can try, and we can post the results finally on your finally on your groups. But I think I hope it was great.
okay, so thank you all very much for being here and hearing this beautiful message. I hope uh, I want all of you to do a small exercise, which is that all of you can note in your own lives. You keep it in your diaries. Some on some session, I'm going to give a Excel sheet or kind of Google form, and you can fill it in that. So what you have to note in that is whatever problems in life you are currently facing, or whatever things you are struggling with, or you have certain ambitions which you are not clear of how to achieve that, or whatever in your life. It may be dealing with stress, depression, or certain seat in a college, or it may be some relationship issues, or whatever it may be. Just write it down somewhere, and by the end of every discussion, try to see those problems and apply the sutras which you learn. So you will get a feedback. Okay. So thank you. Hare Krishna.